Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Elijah,
I'm Tomas.
and this is Project 518. Today, we're going to be talking about letting go of external forces that may be holding you back from manifesting your desired reality. So, basically, the law of detachment is being able to detach yourself from the thought of things not being able to happen, or it's being able to detach yourself from outer energies, outer forces, being able to shape into your energies and keep your energies vibing on the same frequencies, or onto frequencies of manifestations of realities that we don't want, or of realities that continue to persist in our day-to-day life. So I would say detaching yourself from being able to just not care about anything else outside of your life, and really just be able to look into yourself, look into your mind, and visualize on what you want, on your reality. If you're working on your physical health, if you're working on your financial health, if you're working on your spiritual health, whatever you have in your mind, a vision of yourself, if you can just only have that in your mind and detach yourself from what others think of you, detach yourself from what detach yourself from what you might have thought about you, if it's anything negative, detach yourself from forces that are just prohibiting you from being able to really soak yourself into your subconscious state, and be into a state of where your subconscious mind is really visualizing your desires, because if you're always thinking about what other people are, outside forces in your life, what they're thinking about you, if you go outside and you're dressing up in your outfits because you're worried about what other people are thinking when they look at you, rather than thinking about just dressing for yourself, then I would say that you're kind of conforming yourself into an idea that you need to be a certain, you need to have a certain idea of yourself, a certain image of yourself, for the rest of the world to see you. And I think that that would be such a mentality of lack, that it would just kind of prohibit you from kind of manifesting, I think, uh you know anything greater, anything greater than that.
Yeah, and not I want to add to that too. Like by doing that, you don't put yourself out there, your true self. You kind of create this image of someone who's just like watered down, kind of just to please other people. And like if you put yourself out there, like your true self, you're gonna obviously polarize a lot of people. Some people won't like you, some people will, but the ones that will like you, they'll be really there for you. Versus when you do just to please people, you're not gonna get true connections out there. And not only manifesting, but also if you place your happiness on other people, and if you place all these things on external factors, you're never gonna really feel fulfilled because you're always going to be looking for something else outside.
Right. Yeah. And that's going to always kind of just give you a feeling of lack, I get,
Yeah.
and and having that feeling of lack will carry on to all aspects of your life, because you'll just always feel like you're lacking in some way. And that's what's going to be holding you back from being able to focus on your desires and what you want to be and who you want to be. I would say that you'd have to detach yourself from the feelings of lack, from the sensory, the carnal thoughts that make you think that what you see, smell, touch, hear, use your five senses to experience. If you can just detach yourself from that and follow your intuition, and just follow, the tuition that's within you, follow the knowledge that's created from your divine mind, your subconscious mind, then you'll be able to start really seeing and being able to feel more prosperous, uh, start getting rid of those feelings of lack, of negativity, and yeah.
I have a quick question for you. Do you have any tips for people trying to detach? Because I know in the past I've tried it and I've gotten a lot better, but it's really hard. It's something that it's not easy to because deep down it's going to be hard to let go of caring what people think about you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that if it was so easy to be able to touch yourself, I mean, I don't know. it's hard for everybody, I would say, on this journey to be able to fully detach yourself from, especially from like your carnal thoughts, the thoughts that you were raised, being, using for your awareness. But I would say for tips for people who are trying to detach themselves, if you're trying to detach yourself from the feeling of being validated from other people around you, I would say a good thing to do, a good exercise, like a mental exercise, would be to just be sit in your own silence, sit by yourself in solitude, and just really close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and just breathe in, breathe out, and just take breaths and think to yourself while you're breathing the good qualities that you have. Think about the qualities that you like about yourself. Think about how you are worthy of self-love, and therefore you are worthy of all love, and you are full of love. So therefore you cannot receive anything else but love because of all the love that you put out. Because remember, we're always receiving what we're giving. So if we're giving love, we're going to receive love. And if we're giving feelings of judgment and feelings of validating others, then that's what we're going to feel ourselves. So I would say, if you could really just sit down and think about how you're worthy of self-love and you're strong enough to sustain yourself, you know what I mean? And then I think like a sort of a meditation, kind of like to really just affirm yourself that you don't really need outside validation. Yeah, so once you sit down and really start telling yourself those things and start going over those things, you and try to really believe it. Don't just say it half-heartedly. Really believe that you're worthy of those feelings, and that there's no way that other people would be able to move you if you're like already like so strong in your own foundation. Kind of
Yeah.
just solidify yourself within yourself.
When you interact with someone, kind of realize that you're two separate beings, kind of, like you inside of yourself, you feel what you feel. And like you said, you can't let external forces move you. So, I mean, let's say you're feeling good, you're feeling happy, and then you walk up to, let's say you go into a store and the someone in there is just being a total jerk to you. And normally, like that would put a big, like that would kind of ruin some people's day, at least for a while, like, man, this guy's being a total jerk. But if you're inside yourself and you're happy, like, you don't, that won't affect you, because what you feel inside of you is you, it's not them.
Yeah, because if you don't really detach yourself from those feelings, it's just going to create resistance in between your manifestations. Detaching yourself really is kind of, I mean, one of the, I think, pillars of being able to actualize and materialize your desires, your thoughts. Because if you're attached to present situations, to circumstances, to your if you're attached to those kind of things around you, that's already outside your life, then that's just what you're going to stay attached to. But if you can detach yourself from that and attach yourself to what's in here, that's the way that you'll be able to start really bringing what's in here out here, rather than keeping what's out here alive and breathing. um, you are not a product of your circumstance is a product of you. So Elijah 2022, baby.
Well said, well said.
But yeah, so just let go of unnatural forces, let intuition guide you, like we were saying earlier, intuition, that's just the tuition from within. Intuition within your mind. If you can really just look into your mind and seek the answers, seek the means to be able to detach yourself. Like, nobody can really tell you how you can do something if if your mind is not willing to already do it itself. And in that sense, your mind already knows what to do. You just have to listen to it and follow your intuition. You have any questions on that, Tomas?
No, I completely agree, man. Like, we all have the knowledge to, like, only you know what's best for you. Only you know. I mean, obviously advice is advice, but when it comes to people, when it comes to you reacting to people in different ways and letting them affect you, only you know how you feel, only you know how what you are, only you know what's inside of you. So, it's just I agree with you. I mean, I couldn't have put
Right,
it
yeah.
any other better way.
So let's think about how people and and our outer energies around us can really have an impact on us. And this is something that all of us deal with. Me, Tomas, everybody in this, is having to, we deal with, suffering from not detaching or whatever. And so let's think about how these energies can move us. If we're trying to get something done, if we have a goal in sight, if we have something that we want to do, we have a plan of action and we set out to do that. But if we're worried about failing because somebody outside, if you started a business and your friend was like, "Hey, are you sure you're ready for that? Maybe you want to save up," or they're putting seeds of, lack of negativity. And that's, if you can't detach yourself from that, then you're going to find that your business will fall. And I know this from personal experience because I tried to, Tomas can tell you, I tried to start a home improvements business. And uh and I just found, like, after a year I just went under because I found that the people closest to me were the people that were putting seeds of doubt. Like, I mean, it wasn't like things like harsh or anything. They weren't trying to be mean. It's just how people naturally are, I think, around you. If they'll be like, are you sure? That's kind of scary. Or how are you going to do it? What's your plan? Like, where are you getting the money from? And if they put those worries into your head, then you're going to find, like, just in my experience, my business crashed. I mean,
Yeah,
I blamed it on COVID and all that stuff, but I think that it was really just in my mentality. I had a mentality of lack.
that's a big thing too, to take responsibility for things like that. Like there's obviously external factors, but once people start putting all these seeds into your head, you start doubting yourself. You don't take the necessary action. Maybe like the big step you could have taken, you didn't have the trust in yourself to take it. And maybe you would have acted differently if you didn't let those external forces affect you. And I've been there too. We've all been there at some point where people kind of put these little seeds in our head and then they just steer us off course. And eventually you got to realize that it's your responsibility to react. It's your responsibility how you react to these things. It's not your responsibility what they say. They can say whatever they want and they're going to keep saying it, but once you detach from that, and you'll find that that stuff is just it, some of them goes in one ear out the other, and you just keep doing your thing. At the end of the day, you know where you're going, you know what you want. If you know that just keep going.
Right. Yeah. Because if you get sidetracked and steered off course, then it's going to be a bumpy ride taking you down there. Being able, maybe another tip would be to kind of try to shut off your five senses. Obviously you won't be able to completely, shut them off. Like, you'll still feel the seat that you're sitting on or the bed that you're laying on or whatever. But just really try to, like, let go, detach yourself from all your five senses, your sight, your touch, your smell, and whatever. And just try to think of the invisible plane. Think of, like, the fourth dimension, because this is a 3D world that we're in right now. Think of the fourth dimension, the invisible plane, where all is already, all your desires are already created. It's just waiting to be manifested into this three-dimensional world that we have. So think about how your desires, your goals, the things that you want, the things that you want to see in yourself, imagine that in that fourth dimension, in that plane of invisibility, and imagine that kind of just bringing itself to you in some way. Maybe you might find yourself attracting the stuff that's on the fourth dimension and that invisible plane to you, and you might find yourself kind of feeling a little bit stronger and a little bit more enlightened, a little bit more detached from your physical world, in terms of the feelings of lack and negativity, because you're able to carry that positivity of when you're able to let go of, your senses, and kind of just really focus on the positive, your divine inner mind. I guess I'll take this into a wrapping, into a closing. I'm glad that you guys were here with me on this discussion of letting go and the law of detachment. Thank you, Tomas, for joining me in this discussion.
Of course, man, of course.
Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate you guys.
For sure, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next week with a new episode. And if you like this, hit that subscribe, hit that like, and let us know what we can do different in the comments. So with that said, peace.
Peace.